Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the QueendomNation show where all things are royal and loyal. I am your host, Queen Chariel. Hope you guys are having a productive week. Hope everything worked in your favor. We are so glad to have you in the Queendom today. And today I got to talk about something that is that's kind of dear to my heart. It's crazy because all week long I've been binge watching the show Amen. And if you are listening to this show when you grew up in the 80s, you know what I'm talking about. And I brought this up because, sometimes, when the world is full of chaos and you're going through things, sometimes you just need laughter. And I remember growing up in our house in New Jersey, and, when I think the show came on like maybe Fridays or something of that nature. But we used to watch this show with my mom. She has passed in January. But just watching this show just brought back, the good vibes of family, from back then. It brought back just laughter, just happy times that we had back then. And so I just wanted to, if you don't know the show Amen, I'm going to just give you some tidbits of information about the show. It actually starred Sherman Hemsley. I don't know if you know who that is. Some of you may. He was George Jefferson on the Jeffersons. It starred Anna Maria Horsford. And Sherman Hemsley's name was Deacon Fry on the show. And then you had Anna Maria Horsford. Y'all probably know her from Medea's Christmas. She also played in the Wayans Brothers, that show. She was like the cop. But her name was Thelma Fry. She was actually Sherman Hemsley's daughter. Then you had Barbara Montgomery, and you had Roz Ryan, which were the Hedderbrink sisters, which was Cassietta and Amelia. And then you had Clifton Davis. He was Reverend Reuben Gregory. And then we had Tony Johnson. He was the little boy Chris that always knew all the news in the neighborhood. He would always come over to the Fry's house and ask them different questions about people's business. It was hilarious. But and then you had Bumper Robinson. And Bumper Robinson played Clarence the So Fine. And back then, if you were my age back then watching Clarence the So Fine, we were just in love with this young man. But he also played Jada Pinkett's boyfriend on A Different World as well. But I just want to give you some tidbits of information of some of the guests let me finish the lineup. But Sherman Hemsley, he passed away in 2012. He was 74 years old. He was the king of shade on that show. He was always starting stuff. He was always in the middle of something, but he made the show hilarious. He was so funny. And then you had Jester Harrison, and he played as Riley Forbes. Now, he was the most hilarious old man you ever wanted to see on the show. He cracked jokes a lot, but he was also a singer. And if you caught a lot of the episodes, you would hear him singing and see him singing, a lot. They were actually all singers, from Clifton Davis to Roz Ryan to Barbara Montgomery. They were all singers. To Rosetta Lenore, she came on the show a little later. She actually played Carl's mother in Family Matters. Okay, but she also played Leola Forbes on the show Amen. She was actually married to Riley on the show, but Riley died in 2000. He was 99 years old. Rosetta Lenore died in 2002. She was 91 years old. And I don't know if you watched like kind of the later episodes. Sherman Hemsley, Deacon Fry, ended up getting his maid, and the maid's name was Inga. We loved Inga because Inga was in love with Deacon Fry, even though she worked for him. But her real name was Elsa Raven, and she passed in 2020, and she was 91 years old. She was so funny on the show. Guys, I'm telling you, if you have not seen the show, they do have it. It's Amen, and it is on Tubi TV. Just go back in time, and you're going to be amazed at what you see on the show. They also had Franklin Seals. He was the choir director. He was so funny, but he knew how to get that musical choir together when it was time to get them together. He passed away in 1990. He was 37 years old. He was one of my favorite characters on the show as well. And then you had Montrose Higgins. I don't know if you guys knew her, but she was the older lady that was always popping off, and she had the gray hair. She was beautiful. But she died in 2012, and she was 95 years old. But that was such an all-star cast. of such a great show, of a great time in life. It was a happy time. Those shows have really brought back some childhood memories. They have brought back so much laughter to me in the past couple of days, because I'm telling you, I have been cracking up at this show. But what I also love too is they had a lot of guests that started in the show. Like, and I've been watching the show, and so the second episode, I don't even know if you guys know Nell Carter. You got to be a little bit more my age, maybe a little older, to know who Nell Carter is. But she was on the show, Give Me a Break, and it was so funny. Nell Carter was on there, and she sang a song that my mother had sang to us so many times growing up. So guys, I'm telling you, when I heard her singing that, it really snapped back into Park Avenue, East Orange, New Jersey, of really, really, really good times. They also had Cuba Gooding Jr. on there. They had Layla Rashawn. They had John Witherspoon. They had Jack A. Harry. And I know you guys know who all these people are. They had LaWanda Page. Everybody know her as Aunt Esther. And you know John Witherspoon is Pops. Everybody know Jack A. Harry as Sandra from 227. They had Whitman Mayo on there, which was Grady Wilson, off of Sanford and Son. They had James Avery on there off of The Fresh Prince. They had Richard Roundtree. They had James Brown on there. They had Moses Gunn from Good Times. And if you guys remember him, I believe him in Florida ended up getting married after James had passed away on the show Good Times. And Halle Berry was also on the show. That's just to name a few. But I just wanted to tap into that because, sometimes, like I said, we have to just, think back into good times in our lives. And those were good times watching watching that show. And I have really enjoyed as an adult, being able to go back and watch that show. Because you know how when you're growing up and you're a kid and we watch these shows, but, we understand some of the stuff, but we really don't. But now that you're an adult and you go back and watch these shows, you really get the meaning of some of the different types of stories and things that they were trying to portray. I believe the show came out in 86, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe I was 10. I think I was like 10 years old in 86. And so while we love the show, a lot of the lines and the cliches, we really didn't get it. But it's so hilarious, guys. If you have not watched that show, please go watch Amen. If you want to laugh and if you want to feel some good family fun, please watch it. It is on Tubi TV, okay? But I just had to throw that out there. That was something fun for the week for me. But this week, sometimes we go through turmoil too. And I spoke about the happiness for a reason, because that's going to bring us to our topic for today. Because sometimes we get in a place, guys, and, the world around us, it can just become chaotic. And sometimes you just don't know how to deal with life. And sometimes in the mix of everything that you got going on, we forget to love who we are as a person. And so my topic this week is going to be, why is it so darn hard for us to love ourselves, guys? Because while we love everybody else, a lot of times it's often hard for us to give ourselves that same love that we give other people. Okay, and that's something that I really had to learn myself. But when you extend love and compassion towards others, guys, it's not easy. But feeling love and compassion for ourselves is even more challenging. And we all know that, because sometimes we be so busy doing for others that in the midst of it all, we forget about who we are. Okay, so why is it so hard to love ourselves? Sadly, guys, we often treat ourselves in ways that we would never treat other people. What will it take to bring more compassion to ourselves? Okay. Plato famously said, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. You never know what people are dealing with on a regular basis. So we have to really, really, be careful how we treat people. But all in the same breath, why come we don't apply that advice to ourselves? Okay. Who among us have not faced betrayals, adversities, and losses? We've all been there. We've all experienced these type of things, Life becomes more fulfilling as we cultivate the art of self-compassion. While we give compassion to other people, we often, many times, forget to give compassion to ourselves. And so we beat ourselves up and we are really, really hard on ourselves, but we lenient on everybody else. Many of us receive the message that life is, it's a struggle and that we don't deserve the true luxury of happiness. I don't know who put that in the air, but it sometimes it's a thing, it's an aura over people that lets them see that they don't deserve to be happy. And perhaps we grow up, with neglect. Some people grow up with neglect. Some people grow up with abuse. And rather than them receiving that message that they have self-worth and that they have value to themselves and that they're loved, they grow up with not enough acceptance and too much shame. Okay. They cling to their shortcomings. People, you get to that point, you be like, man, I messed up. I can't get out of this slump. Oh, believe me, I've been there. And we get caught up in our past failures and we get caught up in poor decisions we made instead of looking at the positive aspect of the things that we've been through and how we can make it better our future. We tend to praise everybody else, right? But we minimize the good things about ourselves and our positive qualities. It's in our human nature for some reason that we do that. But scientists tell us that our brain, it has a negative bias. Because, guys, we can be our own worst enemy sometimes. We criticize ourselves more than people in general criticize us, okay? Self-compassion begins when you start realizing that you have a right to be happy. I'm really, guys, be honest with you, just now really understanding that concept. And our founding fathers that made the U.S. Constitution, that's actually one of the things in the Constitution is that they really, really enshrine what the pursuit of happiness should be. That's actually a law of the land, is that we pursue happiness at all costs and love ourselves unconditionally at all costs. Okay. However, we are not entitled to happiness, guys. We're not entitled to it. We need to create the necessary conditions so that we can find fulfillment within ourselves. And a lot of times it takes work. It takes hard work, guys, and it takes the right kind of attention, because sometimes things that we think are good for us and things that help better us are really not the things that we need to be doing and not the things that we need to be focusing on. Okay, this includes living an ethical and connected life, guys. Inner peace and happiness will remain elusive if we remain obvious to the needs of others and to the world around us, as well as our own needs. Okay? So, inner peace and happiness, they are synonymous with cultivating compassion towards ourselves, which is easier said than done. And this goes back to just loving who we are, as a person, because like I said, we can buy our own self flowers sometimes just to toot our own horn for the person that we are. Because you ever see people doing great things and the first thing we do is we go out, we buy them gifts, we buy them flowers, we toot their horn. But when we achieve great accomplishments, we don't do that for ourselves. So guys, sometimes go buy yourself some flowers. These are things that can help self-compassion. Self-compassion, guys, is an inner job, okay? It has a lot to do with how we hold ourselves and how we relate to our feelings. It means finding the strength and the resilience to embrace the full range of our human emotions, okay? It means that we find inner resources so that we can gently embrace our feelings rather than meet with the aversion of judgments, okay? Being human, guys, means we wrestle constantly with uncomfortable emotions. How many of y'all do that? Every day it's a constant battle in your head of different emotions that you go through just to make it through the day. Okay? I go through it too. I can't sit here and say I don't. I'm a human being. Some days, you up. Some days you down. Some days it's a mixture of both. But at the end of the day, our job is to pursue happiness on our own level, for us, okay? So why is it so darn hard to love ourselves as much as we love other people, okay? So guys, the next time that you're feeling sad, that you're feeling lonely, that you're feeling afraid, that you're feeling hurt, that you feel embarrassed, or some other uncomfortable feelings, I want you to take it slow. I want you to get gentle breaths, okay? and notice how such a feeling is living in your body right now. Do you feel prickly? Do you feel tight? Do you feel heavy? Do you feel jumpy or something else? See, guys, if you can allow emotions and the bodily sensation associated with the feeling to be there without judging the feeling of criticizing yourself for having it, or for being afraid of it, or for feeling shame around it. Okay? If you do notice shame or fear, simply notice it, and maybe you can find a way to gently deal with those feelings too. Because sometimes, guys, we do that to ourselves. We do things, we make mistakes. People, that's how people are, just people in general. And instead of us getting through it and coming to grips with it, we tend to hold it in us, and we feel ashamed and we feel embarrassed and we feel fear about it. But guys, it's up to you to let that go and to move on with your life so that does not consume you in the person that you are. Okay? Love yourself. Just love on yourself, okay? Don't worry about everybody else sometimes. Sometimes it's gotta be about you. And don't feel bad for it to be about you. Because I don't sometimes. Sometimes I have to pull myself from the world and be like, it's about Queen Chariel today. I love everybody. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes I just need to pull away from everything, and I need to pull away from everybody, and I need to love on myself and do things for myself. Okay? Sometimes we have to be our own best friend, guys, because even though our friends are there for us and you may have best friends, sometimes you're stuck with yourself. And you have to depend on yourself at times when your friends and your family and all of them are not there at that particular time. Okay? Being compassionate towards ourselves also serves others. It gives us more inner peace and we have more to offer. By being familiar and gentle with our own feelings, guys, we can more easily extend compassion towards others when they are feeling distressed and challenged. So when you're feeling stressed and you're going through things and you're understanding how to deal and cope with your own feelings, you can help somebody else that is going through those same trials or those same tribulations, because you can show them a method that you use to channel the things that you're dealing with to be more compassionate to yourself. Okay? And if you've forgotten how to love yourself, because guys, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I forget how to love me, Chariel, Queen Chariel. And so I just want to give you guys some tidbits of information that will help you to not forget about loving yourself as much as you love other people and as much as you praise other people. Okay? These are going to be 10 reasons why you cannot forget to love yourself and how you can put yourself first again. Okay? Number one, if you felt unloved growing up, but you're trying not to let it define you now. Guys, it's not easy to love ourselves, and we struggle with our definition of love. You might have gotten mixed messages growing up and a lack of positive role models growing up, but unfortunately, this can make you lead to the fact that you think that you're useless and that you think that you're worthless. But you are definitely not any of those words, guys, you heard uttered. That's not you. Don't let the pain of your past stop you from believing that you deserve love. Let me say that again. Don't let the pain of your past stop you from believing that you deserve love. Okay? You are a worthy human being and your future is in your hands. So number one, if you felt unloved growing up, but you're trying not to let it define you now, don't worry about that. You are not a product of what people say that you are in a negative manner. Okay? Number two, if you've been hurt recently, but you're trying to see the best in people. So it's not easy sometimes, God, to see the positive aspects in everybody when we've been hurt like so many times. So our self-esteem takes a beating and we question whether we've done anything wrong, whether we are at fault, whether we are to blame. It's hard to love yourself when the people who care deeply about you have been making you feel anything less than that. But don't let painful relationships, don't let painful friendships make you lose faith in humanity. And I'm giving myself that own advice because I go through it too. Don't let these relationships poison your spirit and who you are as a person and who you are to become. Take each relationship as a lesson learned and let it help you with your future relationships, guys. Let these people teach you how to better treat yourself and how to better treat other people. All right, so number 2, if you've been hurt recently, but you're trying to see the best in people. Number 3, you're surrounded by toxic people, but you know they're not good for you. This one really hits home. You know, sometimes we got people in our lives that make us sad more than they make us happy. Sometimes they can bring out the worst in us and they encourage us to become somebody that we're not. They simply may be people we don't need in our lives right now, guys. But if you're starting to realize that you're in a position where you're better off without them, then guess what, guys? You are learning to love yourself. You are doing what's right for you and what's best for you. And you are thinking about your own happiness and your own feelings. That's my favorite one. And number 3 is you're surrounded by toxic people, but you know they're not good for you. Number 4, you used to care about everyone else's needs, but you're starting to understand that you are important too. So being selfless, people, it's the great character trait to have. It really is. It means that you are kind, that you're compassionate, that you're caring, and that you're empathetic. You are someone who thrives on making other people happy. Don't we all? Mm-hmm. But your needs are also important too. So while you're in the process of making everybody else happy, don't forget to put your own needs in there too. You are allowed to care about yourself. You're allowed to say no if you can't do a favor that is asked of you. You are allowed to think about the impact that this favor would have on you because you are important. When you put yourself first, you are telling yourself, I love myself enough to care about what is important to me. So if you used to care about everybody else's needs, start understanding that your needs are just as important, okay? If not more important. Because we can't do for everybody else if we can't do for us first. Okay. Number 5, your life is busy, but you know you need to make more time for yourself. All of us got responsibilities, guys, that get in the way of us taking care of ourselves. Well, I had to do this. I had to work. I had to do this. I had to do this. But we're so busy doing overtime at work and we're rushing around doing home duties and responsibilities as a parent that our bodies start suffering from all of this. It's too much. But if you take time out for your emotional and your mental health, it is imperative that you do that, because if not, at some point it's just gonna all fall. Okay, by looking after your health, you're gonna be more productive, and by getting well rested, you will feel so great. Okay, lying in bed at night with a good book, have a nice long bath, go for a walk in the park, do some of your favorite hobbies. You know, do what's good for you, what's best for you. Do it because you love yourself enough to take a well-deserved break, guys. You know, sometimes we just gotta take a break. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to take a break. 6, you feel defined by your failures, but you want to get back up again. Guys, we all make mistakes. Everybody does. Everybody makes mistakes. We all do things that we regret sometimes. We all get rejected in some aspect, and we all fail, point blank. But when you fail, it does not mean you are a failure. Don't let the negative experiences override the good ones, guys. Don't let it stop you from getting back up again and loving yourself. You are still a lovable person regardless of your mistakes. See, mistakes make us productive. Mistakes make us understand exactly what we did wrong and how we can fix it. And so we're not making those same mistakes again if you are able to learn from those mistakes that you made. Okay, number 7, you're not sure what to do with your life, but you're determined to work it out. Guys, it's okay to be confused. It's okay. We all get to that point at some time or another, not lies. And the fact that you're trying to make sense of it all is what really counts. Okay? Give yourself the time to work it all out. Just because you don't know exactly where your life is heading does not mean that you should love yourself any less. Because sometimes it's a process trying to get where we need to go. You know, it ain't something that we can always figure out overnight. You know, be proud that you're finding out who you are and what makes you happy. It's okay to do this by getting to know different type of people and by trying out different types of occupations. See, people be asking me, Manette, what do you do? No, the question is, what does Manette do not do? I do a lot of things, guys, you know, and it's because I love enjoying different things. I don't feel like in life that we should just have to stick to doing one thing. You know, we should try everything. Possibilities are endless out here, okay? Number 8, you don't feel successful compared to everyone else, but you understand that you need to focus more on your uniqueness. Don't let the comparisons get you down. Don't be comparing yourself to other people because you don't know what those people went through to get where they are. And your path is not the same path as theirs. Everybody's path is different. So don't let the money that your loved ones is making, the material possessions that they own, or the occupations that they have make your life have less value. You are equally as important and you are equally deserving of love no matter what you have and what you don't have. Okay? Focus on your own talents and your skills because sometimes when we get to worry about what other people got going on, we forget about what we got going on and who we supposed to be. Okay? Focus on your own accomplishments and achievements. Love yourself, guys, for who you are. And remember that you have your own uniqueness to add to the world. See, if everybody was the same out here, what would we really be learning from people? You know, it's a reason why come God made us all different so that we can learn how those differences make each one of us unique and each one of us special. You've lost a loved one, but you are slowly getting there. This is me, guys, definitely. When we're experiencing grief and loss, it can be difficult to feel anything, let alone love. When we're going through immense pain, we might feel that we don't want to be bothered with life anymore and we're struggling to cope and we don't care at all about the sleep that we're having, the food that we're eating, the pleasurable activities that we're doing for ourselves. But you need to remember that it does matter. As painful as your life is at that moment, you still need to take care of you. Okay? You're not selfish for wanting to just move forward and be happy. If the person you lost meant so much to you guys, then you most definitely meant a lot to them. A person that would have wanted you to love yourself and to continue to look after yourself. And I'm definitely taking that advice for myself. Okay. Number 10, you don't see yourself as a priority. You don't see self-love as a priority, but you realize it really needs to be one. When life gets you down, it is easy to forget how important it is to love yourself, guys. It's easy to forget that loving you is a priority, but you need to make it one. Loving yourself is not an inconvenience. It's not about caring about you and only you. It's about reminding yourself that no matter how busy or difficult life can get, that the love you have for yourself will give you strength no matter the challenges. The ability for you to care for your own needs, to see your own worth, to take time out for yourself will benefit who you are and those around you. By loving yourself, you are better able to make the best possible difference in this world. So I hope you guys took that to heart. If you didn't get it all, just go back later when I post a video on Facebook. You can go back and you can go through those things because those were some very, very important points about us being able to love ourselves and no matter the circumstance and no matter the things that we've been through, because we all go through something, guys, and it can be difficult for everybody to cope and deal with those things, but we have to love ourselves as much as we love other people and pour into ourselves as much as we pour into other people, so that way at the end of the day we're not giving so much away that we don't have enough to give ourselves. Okay, so our Queendom quote of the day is by Amit Ray. Stand up for who you are, respect yourself, and ignite the divine sparks in you. Again, Queendom quote of the day is stand up for who you are, respect yourself, and ignite the divine sparks in you. I'm Queen Chariel. Thank you so much for tuning into the Queendom Nation show where all things are royal and loyal. You can definitely find us at the Queendom Nation radio show on Facebook. You can also follow us at charieldy.com, CharielDye.com. That way you can also get my book, Women in Entrepreneurship, How Do We Beat the Odds. The link is actually there on the site for you to follow and get. So guys, I hope you have a productive week. I hope everything works in your favor. And like I said at the beginning of the show, if you have not watched the show, Amen, please go and watch that show. If you have not done nothing else to laugh or enjoy the week, I'm telling you, that show is going to really, really bring you to some major, major laughs. And it is on Tubi TV. So with all things said and done, you guys have a wonderful week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Queen Chariel.